It sucks. It's getting colder and colder, and they keep moving us around. Like, where did they expect us to go? Like, we have totally nowhere to go. Every spot that we have to camp, they come and kick us out.
Next time you're going to set them down this way, not in front of them. What's up, bro? What's up? What's up, bro?
Hey! No!
The first wish would be I would put a down payment on a condo in heaven. Second wish, I would wish that everybody is healthy and happy. And the third wish, I'd say, give me the first one back.
You're cold, you get soaking wet, you wonder where you're going to sleep from night to night. You wonder if you're going to make enough.
In recent months, a viral online movement, part satire, part serious proposal, has captured the internet's imagination. The notion that Canada should officially join the United States. What started as a playful meme soon evolved into a talking point among political commentators, content creators, and even a few American pundits who viewed Canada's vast resources and political stability as compelling reasons for a union. But for many Canadians, the idea provoked more than laughter. It stirred an uneasy reflection on who they are and why remaining distinct from their southern neighbors still matters. For decades, Canada has taken pride in its calm and civility, a nation that values dialogue over division and social support over spectacle. Yet beneath that reassuring image, a troubling reality is quietly emerging, one that mirrors the struggles long associated with the United States: homelessness. It's an irony hard to ignore. While Canadians celebrate their independence from the turbulence below the border, the streets of Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal are beginning to echo scenes that once felt uniquely American. Rows of tents, the shadow of addiction, untreated mental illness, and mass displacement, these are no longer isolated urban problems. They've become part of a broader North American crisis, reminding both nations that borders can't contain the human cost of inequality. A crisis Canada can no longer denude. Can we still call Canada a safe and stable country when more people are pitching tents on sidewalks than ever before? For generations, the world has viewed Canada as a calm refuge, snowy landscapes, polite politics, and a healthcare system that symbolized compassion. Canadians have long taken pride in being the quiet, steady neighbors to America's loud chaos. But in recent years, that image has begun to fracture, and nothing has revealed the cracks more clearly than the explosion of homelessness spreading across the nation.
It sucks. It's getting colder and colder, and they keep moving us around. Like, where did they expect us to go? Like, we have totally nowhere to go. Every spot that we have to camp, they come and kick us out. Like, wow, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm laying here out behind a Bissell right now because they just kicked us out from behind the white church. Like,
in 2023, an estimated 235,000 Canadians experience homelessness at some point, roughly 1 in every 150 people. On any given night, over 35,000 individuals go without stable shelter. These aren't just numbers, they're families sleeping in cars in Nova Scotia, seniors wrapped in blankets on Vancouver's park benches, and young workers seeking warmth in 24-hour coffee shops across Calgary. What we're witnessing is not a side issue. It's a full-scale humanitarian crisis Canada can no longer ignore. The COVID-19 pandemic didn't create homelessness, but it accelerated it beyond anything the nation was prepared for. Job losses, soaring rents, and the collapse of mental health services collided, forcing thousands more into instability. Temporary lifelines like eviction bans and emergency income support only delayed the inevitable. When those vanished, so did many people's homes, and the system wasn't ready for the fallout. Now, the crisis is visible everywhere. In Toronto and Ottawa, 10 encampments stretch through public parks. In Vancouver's downtown east side, sidewalks overflow with makeshift shelters, shopping carts, and the silent weight of addiction and trauma. Even smaller cities, Kelowna, Barrie, and others, are witnessing scenes they once thought unimaginable. There's no single cause, but one truth stands firm. Homelessness is no longer confined to the margins. The new face of Canada's housing crisis includes working parents, students, newcomers, single mothers, and full-time employees priced out of housing markets spiraling beyond reach. It's the same painful reality we've long recognized as homeless in America, only now it's unfolding beneath the maple leaf. Some still insist, at least we're not as bad as the US, but that comfort sounds increasingly hollow. If success means standing one step behind another country's catastrophe, what does that say about where we're headed? As someone who's traveled across Canada, I've seen the change firsthand. 10 years ago, it was rare to see a tent in downtown Montreal. Today, they've become part of the city's everyday landscape. A quiet symbol of how a nation once known for stability is now facing the crisis it thought could never reach its doorstep.
My future is by the grace of God. That's where it is. That's how I live. I mean, I live by a series of small miracles. I don't expect one big one like the lottery. I just live. And you know what? It works.
Rising tensions, shrinking shelter, political strains, and homelessness. Canada is sailing through turbulent political waters, and those waves are crashing straight into its fragile housing system. In early 2025, a US-led trade war, complete with 25% tariffs on Canadian imports, rattled investor confidence and exposed how dependent Canada's economy remains on its southern neighbor. Though the Bank of Canada's rate cuts softened the blow, the scare revealed just how easily US politics can shake Canada's housing stability and test the country's economic resilience. At the same time, the federal government quietly introduced new immigration caps, slowing population growth to roughly 20,000 between January and April. The goal was to cool rental demand, but many economists call it a short-term patch on a long-term wound. Without adding more homes, the math doesn't change. 1 in 3 renters still pays more than they can afford, and eviction fears are growing. Can limiting immigration truly fix a housing shortage built on decades of underbuilding? Canadians are watching to see if real action follows the promises, or if political convenience once again wins over sustainable reform. The April 2025 federal election put housing and homelessness at the heart of national debate. All major parties, Liberal, Conservative, NDP, and Green, pledged renter protections, eviction safeguards, and deeper investments in affordable housing. Yet public faith remains low. Nearly two-thirds of Canadians believe no level of government is doing enough. Many say leaders talk about change but deliver only crumbs, while homelessness continues to climb in plain sight. Meanwhile, national unity is fraying. In the West, provinces like Alberta are again flirting with separatist ideas, frustrated by federal climate mandates and Ottawa's grip on the economy. These regional divides make nationwide reform difficult, especially when federal programs appear to favor some regions over others. Still, some progress is underway. The Affordable Housing and Groceries Act eliminated GST on new rental construction through 2030, encouraging billions in private development. In British Columbia, Premier David Eby's government passed bold zoning reforms, ending single-family-only restrictions and promoting dense, transit-oriented housing. But the results will take years, and for now, Canada still faces one of the widest affordability gaps in the developed world. So what will it take for true progress? Can Canada finally build the kind of federal-provincial cooperation that puts people before politics? Or will polarization keep hundreds of thousands sleeping rough, waiting for someone's promise to turn into policy? From what I've seen filming in cities from Ottawa to Edmonton, the divide isn't just political anymore. It's visible on every cold street where Canadians are still waiting for warmth, stability, and a home that doesn't depend on the next election cycle. Addiction, mental health, and government responses. It's impossible to understand Canada's homelessness crisis without confronting its deep connection to mental health and addiction. About 53% of people experiencing homelessness report living with conditions such as anxiety, depression, or trauma-related disorders. Nearly 45% also struggle with substance use, often not by choice, but as a way to numb pain and survive instability. This overlap, known as dual diagnosis, creates a devastating cycle where illness and addiction feed each other, making recovery feel almost unreachable. In recent years, Canada has leaned into a harm reduction approach, one that stands in stark contrast to the more punitive responses often seen in homeless in America. Among the most debated strategies is the Safer Supply program, which provides pharmaceutical-grade alternatives to street drugs like fentanyl. Instead of pushing people toward dangerous withdrawals or unpredictable street substances, medical teams offer supervised doses of hydromorphone and similar medications. The goal is not simply to prevent overdoses, but to stabilize lives, to create a bridge toward treatment, housing, and long-term care. Though controversial, early results are encouraging. These programs have reduced emergency room visits, strengthened links to healthcare, and increased participation in outreach efforts that connect people to housing and counseling. In several pilot projects, overdose deaths have dropped by more than 25%, while communities reported fewer public health emergencies. Alongside this, the Housing First model, treating housing as the foundation for recovery, not a reward for sobriety, continues to show result. In Ontario and Alberta, more than 70% of participants remain housed after 2 years, reporting improved mental health, higher job stability, and fewer hospitalizations. By addressing addiction as a public health issue rather than a criminal one, Canada is charting a more compassionate and arguably more effective path forward. Yet it also raises a haunting question. In a nation where thousands still sleep without shelter, what does true recovery and dignity look like for those still waiting at the margins? And will this newfound compassion last when political winds shift and funding grows thin? What else can be done to amplify these gains? Education remains one of the strongest and most overlooked tools in confronting homelessness and its roots. Community outreach, peer-led networks, and mental health awareness campaigns help dismantle the stigma surrounding life without stable housing. In Calgary, for instance, a mobile mental health unit launched in late 2023 has already made over 4,000 service visits, reaching people directly in shelters, encampments, and even isolated suburban areas often left unseen. Nationally, the federal government has committed more than $200 million in targeted mental health funding for cities most impacted by homelessness, with several provinces pledging to match those efforts. But lasting progress rests on one essential principle: integration. Housing, addiction treatment, mental health care, and job training must operate together, not as fragmented services competing for funds. Studies show that when vocational training is combined with Housing First programs, participants' employment rates rise by nearly 30% within a year. This integrated model not only reduces the risk of returning to homelessness, but also rebuilds the social bonds that hold communities together and nurture long-term recovery. In this section, we've seen how Canada is beginning to confront the intertwined challenges of addiction, housing, and mental health. Next, we'll look south to how New York City, Los Angeles, and Kensington are facing similar battles, and what powerful lessons Canada can draw from their experiences in addressing homeless in America and beyond. Comparing crises, Vancouver and America's most troubled cities. For decades, Vancouver has been regarded as Canada's most compassionate city, a place where progressive policy meets social conscience. Its mild weather, consistent public funding, and broad harm reduction network have made it a refuge for people experiencing homelessness. Yet this generosity has created a painful paradox. The more Vancouver gives, the more overwhelmed its system becomes. As of early 2025, the city reports more than 4,800 unhoused residents, a number that has climbed steadily for 5 consecutive years despite hundreds of millions in new investments. The downtown east side, once a small cluster of struggling blocks, has now become a sprawling symbol of crisis, lined with tents, makeshift shelters, outreach vans, and exhausted workers trying to hold back a tide that keeps rising. Vancouver has fully embraced Housing First and harm reduction strategies, including safe supply programs and supervised consumption sites. These efforts have saved countless lives, yet critics argue that the focus has drifted toward survival rather than recovery. Meanwhile, zoning restrictions, construction delays, and community resistance continue to choke the expansion of affordable housing. In many ways, Vancouver reflects Canada's broader dilemma, a city rich in compassion but bound by bureaucracy, politics, and limited capacity. It mirrors what we've come to recognize in Homeless in America, that even the most well-intentioned systems can falter when compassion is not matched by coordination, courage, and long-term vision. Crime and perception, the complexity of safety in Vancouver. Whenever the issue of homelessness arises, safety quickly follows, sometimes out of empathy, but often from fear or oversimplified assumption. In Vancouver, as in many major cities, a debate continues to intensify. Are rising crime rates truly being driven by homelessness, or is the picture far more complex than that? The truth is stark. Most people experiencing homelessness are not committing crimes. In fact, they are far more likely to be victims of them. Yet public concern often zeroes in on what's visible: open drug use, property damage, or tense encounters in crowded streets. According to the Vancouver Police Department, 2024 saw a 17% rise in reported incidents connected to homelessness. But a closer look reveals that most of these were nonviolent: noise complaints, disputes within encampments, or calls for welfare checks, rather than actual offenses. This raises an uncomfortable but vital question. Are we criminalizing poverty simply because it's visible? Residents near the downtown east side have voiced genuine safety worries, and local shop owners have urged stronger enforcement. Yet advocacy groups argue the solution lies not in harsher crackdowns, but in compassion, through outreach, housing access, and mental health care. In response, Vancouver has sought a middle path, pairing police patrols with social workers and health professionals to de-escalate tensions before they erupt. New pilot initiatives are also redefining what safety can look like. The city's community-based de-escalation teams, operating independently from law enforcement, focus on resolving conflict without force. Early results are promising: fewer arrests, more voluntary treatment referrals, and higher levels of public trust between unhoused residents and the community. So perhaps the real challenge isn't controlling disorder, but redefining safety itself, not as the mere absence of crime, but as the presence of care, stability, and human connection. In Vancouver's case, that shift may be the key. Replacing punishment with understanding isn't just a policy reform, it's a reimagining of what public order should mean in a city where too many are still struggling to find belonging within their own home. Conclusion: the homelessness crisis in Canada is no longer limited to a few downtown streets. It has become a national reckoning that reflects deeper economic, political, and social fractures. Comparisons to the severe emergencies highlighted in Homeless in America may offer perspective, but they should also serve as a warning. What begins with rising rents, untreated mental illness, and fragmented public systems can quickly evolve into a structural collapse if left unaddressed. Canada still possesses many of the right tools: a universal healthcare system, a legacy of social welfare, and a population that believes in empathy and fairness. But without true coordination, urgency, and the courage to innovate, even these strengths risk falling short. The defining question now is whether Canada will act decisively before the crisis spirals beyond control. Because in the end, a nation's greatness isn't measured by how it rewards its most privileged, but by how it safeguards those who have the least. The time to respond with clarity, unity, and compassion is now, before the cracks in Canada's foundation deepen beyond repair.